What's up, dude?
What's going on?
Same old stuff. What's happening, crew? We're back with another ride series how-to. And today, we're gonna teach you to handle uphill switchbacks like a pro. Now, I don't know if it's gonna be like a pro, but I'm gonna tell you how to handle uphill switchbacks like I handle switchbacks. I use my man Jason, better known as Bentonville MTB, to help us make that point. So Jay's a pretty decent rider, but uphill switchbacks, something he and I talked about, and it was pretty cool because what he said is nobody's ever taught me how to do them, and I'd love some insight. So we're not starting from square one. Jay's pretty good. He's probably gonna get through them fairly well. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna deal with some nuance, kind of give you some more insight. But what we'll be able to do is break down some steps that I think everybody can follow. Now, how you implement those steps, that's gonna be totally up to you. So I'm not gonna tell you there's any hard and fast with how to get up switchbacks. You just wanna get up. But I'm gonna try to give you some advice to help you get up them a little bit more efficiently, maybe save you some energy, and maybe give you some tips and tricks on how to set yourself up better for when they get a little bit more difficult, which I haven't told him yet. When we get done here, we're gonna take him over to a spot that's a little bit more difficult and see if he can make it up there. So, Jay, are you ready to do some uphill switchbacks like a pro?
I'm ready.
All right,
a pro.
He's ready, you better be ready because we're doing this. Let's go. Okay, let's throw out a little bit of context. Where are we? Well, we're in Bentonville, Arkansas, the mountain bike capital of the world. We're in Slaughter Pen. We're at Boo Boo. So right over there is the bottom of All-American, where Crystal Bridges is, where you've seen us session a ton of times. So we're right across Northeast A Street, getting right over here into the heart of Slaughter Pen. So it's a pretty cool section where we have some switchbacks where you head up to Boo Boo, Choo Choo, kind of the gateway to the rest of the Oz Trails. We're gonna have Jay hit this switchback right here, see what he's got without any input. Then we'll give him a little bit of coaching and we'll go from there. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, well, that already looks too good. Yeah, okay. All right, well, it looked really good to start, looked really good overall. There were a few things that we can work with, but as he was coming up and I was thinking, he's gonna be too good at this. It's okay though, because we'll use that to provide context for everybody. So if you're out there watching and you just saw Jason go through and went, damn, like he's really good, no worries. Because the things that we're gonna break down, I think are gonna appeal to pretty much everybody. So let's break those things down. Here we go, we're gonna break this thing down and really dissect it to give you some cues on what to think about and ways to progress through this. Because I think the idea is to get through it and then kind of fine tune and make it a little bit better. So first thing to think about is, what kind of bike are you on? And I think that does play a key role. Geometry of a bike is gonna have some impact here. Now for me, in today's video, I'm on the Fazzari Delano Peak. Really cool bike, the epitome of a trail bike, in my opinion, something I've been on for a while and I'm very comfortable with it. But there's a few key things about this bike that I think they make it better for me when I'm doing switchback turns, and I'm gonna get into those. So 29er, 135 rear, 150 front, not super slack by any means. Like I said, quintessential trail bike. So I think what we're gonna talk about is really gonna play into the majority of bikes. Now, if you're on a cross-country bike, head tube angle is gonna be really steep. You're gonna have to slow down the inputs a little bit. If you're on something that's way slacker, I mean, this is 66 degrees. If you're on something that's like 64 and a half, turning inputs, maybe they're gonna have to be a little quicker. So now, where do we start? So, first thing we need to think about is vision. So, number one, where are you looking? Jay did a really good job with that. As he was coming up the trail, he was looking ahead, his eyes were high to see where he was going. So, that's something that's very important. You have to look up, you have to see what's coming. Look up, look off the front, look to the side, see what's ahead of you. That's gonna allow you to line up properly going into your turn. Second thing we need to think about is gear choice. So if you look at the back of this bike, I got that big old giant pie plate up there on the top. Now, here in Northwest Arkansas, I very rarely ever get into that. So the major issue I see with a lot of people is they jam that thumb down and clack, 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 all the way up the cassette, and they're spinning 1,000,000 miles an hour. I would say don't do that. I would say drop down in the cassette a few gears and try to give yourself the ability to put down tractive force. Okay, torque. Hopefully everybody understands torque, and torque is great. Creating torque's awesome, but you need to get that down to the surface. Here it's very loose over hard. Okay, we have a lot of rocks, a lot of marbles. So if you're cranking 1,000,000 miles an hour, it's gonna be much more difficult for you to get traction. So find that gear. I don't know exactly what that gear is. You're gonna have to play around with a few to see what works. So, step 2, proper gear choice. Step 3, and this is what Jason still did pretty well. Step 3 is line choice or entry point. So now it comes back to geometry. So keeping it simple, do yourself the biggest favor you can. Give yourself as much room as possible to make this happen. So that means when you're coming into the turn, if it's a right-hander, get as far left as you possibly can. Because if I get as far left as I can, I give myself that much more room. But now here's where it gets, I don't want to say tricky, but this is what you start to think about when it comes back to the geometry. I want to try to tighten my radius in the beginning. So it's almost going to look like a question mark in a way. I want it to be tight here and then open up. So most people do it completely backwards. They make this long sweeping turn and they go too deep, and then they have to get tight. Now that's where we saw Jay do a little bit of that. So the front wheel gets to roll up there, and then the next issue, the 4th issue, is body positioning. So you need to understand, with this right here, I'm turning to the right. So in theory, everything needs to be going to the right. So what I see a lot of people do is they're making that right-hand turn and they get nervous and they start leaning to the left. If you're making a right-hand turn, you can't be leaning to the left. You have to be leaning to the right. So that's part of why, for me, I'll come in as high as I can, as wide as I can, lean into the turn and make that turn fairly quick, and then just pedal right out of it. Now the other piece with positioning is, where are you at on the seat? So this one right here, I don't want to say it's unique to me. I think a lot of people do this, but you hear very few people talk about it. I slide forward on the seat. So when I get into this position or whenever I'm climbing, I want to slide forward. Most people think about dropping their torso down. You can certainly do that, but if you slide forward on the seat as far as you can, you're moving your center of gravity forward, your center of mass, and then you can drop your torso down a little bit. So think about that. If you think about that, if you can rationalize it in your mind, it'll make a little bit more sense when you're on the bike and when you're in a situation like this. Now with this bike, the Delano Peak has a fairly steeper seat tube angle. I don't have to slide as far forward on the seat. I'm already in a pretty good position and allows me to be pretty maneuverable. So once you get those 5 things out of the way, it's pretty much vision, looking where you need to go, and just pedaling through the turn. So how about I show you what that looks like? We're coming up pretty much in the center of the trail. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna eye up. I'm gonna see where I'm going. Okay, now I wanna think about getting as far left as I can to maximize my space. So once I'm up here, this is where I talked about, my turn's gonna be a little bit sharper here, and I wanna lean the bike over to let that happen. Then I can unwind my input into the handlebars and come out here and use all the trail this way. So if you do it opposite, if you come in the middle of the trail, or you come in on the inside, which we just saw a few people do, the problem is you're gonna come up here, and if you're not leaning over, you're gonna drag that turn out, and the front can start to creep up here, and you can see where many people have done that. Use the geometry in your favor. All right, speed is good. Get that entry point on the outside. Good. Okay. Okay, good. So you just missed when Jay got to the top. He's like, the shoulders, I didn't point the shoulders. Everything looked pretty good. You came in really high, the entry was good. This time, think about trying to get that turn made. So maybe come in, slow the roll for a second, make that turn, and then go. You kind of powered through all the way, and that's something that I didn't say. I didn't talk about easing up on the power, but that's something that I just do. So now we know to talk about that. So try that. Come up high, ease up a little bit, make that turn, and then roll out. Good. Get in high, turn down. Good. Very good. That looked awesome. Now, the only thing I would say is go up a gear. So go a gear easier because you are cranking pretty hard. That's part of trying to figure out what gear should I be in. So try that. But dude, the turn angle was awesome. When you came in, you paused for a second, you leaned the thing over, turned it, and then slowly pulled that input out. Looks great. Yeah, go for it. Try it again. Okay, Jay's looking really good here. What he's doing, entry point looks good. So vision's high. He's coming in way out here. He's getting turned tighter in the beginning part of the turn, leaning over to allow himself to open up and get pointed where he wants to go. So again, to reiterate, you want the tighter part of the turn to be done early in the turn rather than later, and you have to lean with it. So now what we've done is we told him, go into an easier gear. So a little bit easier gear, I think, is going to allow him to probably stay in the saddle and then just pedal out of it after he gives that pause. So let's see it, dude. Okay. Coming in. There's that easier gear. Coming out high. Good. Good. I like that. That looked good. Now, one easier gear. Go even easier. Try to lean a little bit more. So what we're trying to do now is we're trying to bring you back over here. You're still out pretty far on the exit of the turn. I want to try to get you back here. So what you're going to be able to do is lean more. And the way you can do that is slide a tiny bit forward on the seat. All right, dude. So now you got the right hander, no problem. Now we're going to try to work this left hander, which there's not as much elevation gain, but it's still somewhat difficult. You got a lot of loose rock to the inside. So when you come in and make that tighter arc in the beginning, you can't go too tight because you have that stuff there. So part of it is as you come in, you want to look over and see what's there, see what's on the exit, and then get out here. You're going to be to the outside always, but how tightly you turn in is going to be dictated by what's on the inside of the turn and then what's on the exit, okay? So it's all about that timing and just gauge your speed. You can go in a little faster, you can go in a little bit slower. It's totally up to you, okay? I'm pretty open to speed. All right, let's see it. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, that was good. That was good. I don't know. Did you drag the brakes in that?
I tapped him a little bit.
Okay, we got him. We got him on something. He tapped the brakes a little bit. I thought I heard that. That looked really good, dude. Body positioning was great. The brake thing, whatever. I mean, if that's what you felt you needed to do, I think it just shows you that you can come in a little bit slower. But I think it highlights a pretty key point. So the speed and how much speed you need to carry, there's a lot of factors involved. Here, it's not very difficult in the grand scheme of things. So this is something that I think most riders, they could handle. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to another spot and we're gonna bring in some more nuance. So this next spot is way more difficult because the turn is pretty sharp. There's a little bit more elevation gain and there's rocks and roots everywhere. So I'm very confident in Jason's ability because he's staying centered over the bike. That's the first thing that's very important. If you're off the back or steering the bike out in front of you, it's very hard to deal with that. He's not doing that. So I think we can make this work. The key is going to be power delivery and staying centered and staying balanced and staying relaxed. This is where a lot of people are gonna try to muscle it up and make it more difficult than it is. So we're gonna go over and see it. And you know the best part is, I'm not 100% at this spot. So we'll see if I can get through it. There's a couple different lines that we'll play with, and I think it'll allow us to expose a little bit of high level technique and then give everybody watching kind of a roadmap on what to do in those situations. So let's go, let's hit it. Here we go. Here's the tough spot because you got all this nuance and then you got to get up here. So he's never seen it. Let's bring him up, see what he thinks. This should be pretty cool to see his reaction. All right, dude, come on up. All right, get outside and make the turn. You got it. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, I thought you were gonna get it. Okay, so pretty good real-time dissection. Everything looked good, dude. Now my advice is next time you do it, get higher. A little bit more of a pause right there to get turned so you can get more straight at it. So you came out here, yeah, and you had to navigate around that spot to then straighten it out. So if you can square it up here, you can give yourself a straight line. Now here's the other thing too. If for some reason that turn takes a little bit longer to develop, this is where you can slide forward on the bike, drop your torso a little bit, and just slowly churn up it. So think about putting your rig in 4 low and just creeping up. So I'll show you, like literally right here, I'm in the 3rd gear from the top on the cassette. So I'm gonna try to get up it. I'm gonna think about sliding a little bit forward on the seat and just riding right up. So basically, standing start, as long as I'm forward, I just creep right up. All right, making that turn, straighten it out. All right, yeah, there you go. You made it look too easy, dude, dang it. Well, I guess it just goes to show you that if you're coached well and you listen, you can get up pretty easy. Now I did notice, are you all the way up at the top of your cassette?
Yeah.
Okay, it's 11 speed?
I came into it on the top.
Yeah, so again, you saw that worked, but it's up to you as a rider. You can kind of decide, what do you want to do? Do you want to run in a little bit deeper gear and pull less RPM and rely on a little bit more power? You can certainly do that. Or if you want to run higher up in the cassette, spin some more RPMs, take things a little bit slower, heck, you can certainly do that. So now, since he made that look so easy, I have another line that I'm going to show him, and we're going to see if he can apply the technique there. Let's see it. We're going to try and step it up a little bit, and we're going to use some of that geometry. So what we're going to try to do is cut off this whole section of this turn. I'm sometimes 50% of the time, this works every time. So what I'm going to try to do is, instead of being out here, I'm going to come in right here. So this is a difficult one, because what you got to do is you got to come in way up here, get turned up this, get turned again, and up that. So essentially we're looking at 3 different segments, but all of the technique that I talked about, all of those elements, they all apply. So you're about to see if I can put the pieces together and make it work. Then we'll let Jason give it a try. Let's see how the Delano Pete can handle this. Oh! That wasn't the bike, that was me. Get this. Dude. You can give it a try, but there's other elements to this that we haven't talked about. And some of that is the lift, shift, and pull that we teach at the ride series. You got to move the weight a little bit forward and back to lighten up on some of this stuff. So give it a try, dude. Let's see. I know you got the power. You want to try to come in out here. So get a couple good pedal strokes to here, off the power, turned, and this is where you got to lighten up over that, and then power back up, square it, and go. You got it. Well, dude, here's the thing. This is the way to think about it. This has to come first. So once you get turned, first piece is out of the way. Then you got to get this little lift. Once that's done, then it's that. So don't think about that until you get this.
3 different pieces.
3 different pieces, dude. Come on.
3 different.
Watch, dude. He'll get it the first time. Make me feel like a, well, just make me feel bad. Come in out there. Turn in. Get. Not bad. So come in a little wider, turn in a little bit sooner, and then charge up this, gather yourself, and then go up. Get up, there you go, good. Look good, dude. So now, try to open this turn up a tiny bit.
Yeah, that's
so
the
you're,
hard part.
I know, that's where you gotta lean a little bit. So a little bit of a lean will flatten that turn out a little bit more, and then just torso back up here. And then once you get over that, dude, get forward and grind up this thing. That's when you're in 4 low. That was great, dude. You got here very easily, but then when you got here, it looked like you're just going, man, I don't know. Is this gonna work? Is it not? Your destination is up there, my man. Get there. Take that bike home. Grinding. Oh yeah, there we go. Just get forward. Dude, when the front's, that's why. So you're trying to stand up. The problem when you stand up is your center of gravity goes higher, and as you're powering down, the front of the bike wants to come up.
Yeah.
If you stay low, slide forward on the seat and go forward, you'll get more traction.
Yeah, because as soon as it started wheelie,
Yep.
it was over.
When you're wheeling, you're creating torque, but it's your body
Losing
weight.
Control the front.
Yeah, your body weight's not far enough forward to get it down. And the problem is you can't lean too far forward because then you close your hip angle too much that you can't generate power. That's why slide forward. You're literally on the nose of the seat, dude. It's not comfortable, I'll tell you that, but it's effective. Get out, turn in, get that lift. Good, forward, stay forward on the bike. Get it. Nice, dude. You're right here. I'm gonna give you that. I would give you that if the camera wasn't rolling, but the YouTube universe says they want to see you pedal it out. Well, the thrill of victory and the agony of almost making it. You saw how close he was. That's the way it works. It's one of those things where you got to apply the technique. So you did good, dude. You crushed it. I'm very proud of this guy, and I can tell you, I know his personality, so he'll be back here and he'll be slaying it. So if you follow him on the Instagram at Bentonville MTB, I'm sure you'll see it. So good job.
Yeah.
I hope it resonated. You know, this is one of those things that really gets under the skin of a lot of mountain bike riders. You're gonna deal with switchbacks, you're gonna deal with uphill switchbacks, you're gonna deal with downhill switchbacks. They're a part of the mountain biking game. If you really think about the geometry, keep your eyes up, give yourself the best opportunity and manage your weight. That's pretty much all it comes back to. So, you know, from here, find some spots, go out, get some practice, maybe have somebody record you. Think about the things I talked about, and I think you'll have some success. So hopefully you've been following along on all of the Ride Series how-tos. If you're not a subscriber, please click down below, get subscribed, click the bell to get notified when we drop more of these. So you can also follow along behind the scenes on Instagram at The Rich Drew. So it's been a long day of shooting, and I think we're all pretty smoked. It's time to go find a great place to eat here in the mountain bike capital of the world and get hydrated. So hope everybody's having a great week. Spread some positivity out on the trail. And, well, Jay, do you know how to end these videos?
Dumpers out.
That works for me. Dumpers out.